Let's talk Villa, and we're going to be answering the question, do Aston Villa need to replace Moussa Diaby? Before we get into that, be sure to like, subscribe, turn the notifications on to not miss a single thing on the Let's Talk Villa channel. The content's going to be going through the roof as we ramp up for the 2024-2025 Premier League season. Go ahead as well, this side actually, and follow my Twitter. We're going to be tweeting over there polls for each video for you guys to get involved in, and if you reply to the tweets, it'll be your chance to be involved in the video as well. So head over there, give it a follow, link will be down in the description. Polls are coming back before every video, but let's have a look at the Moussa Diaby replacement theory. So, in case you have been living under a rock, Al Ittihad have bought Moussa Diaby for a package that is looking to be totalling around £60 million, with the add-ons included, from Aston Villa after he only spent one season at the club after we bought him from Bayern Leverkusen. So it is obviously a big loss. Moussa Diaby played effectively every game for Aston Villa last season, made 38 appearances in the Premier League. He was an ever-present in our European Cup sides as well, whether it was coming off of the bench or starting. There's a lot of goal involvements there that he brought to the team that we are going to have to replace. And we have been linked with a couple of decent replacements for him. Now, majority of the season, last season, he spent playing as a striker next to Ollie Watkins, so being that second striker that drops into the hole in that number 10 role, and pretty much interchanges with Morgan Rogers and Leon Bailey as the front three behind Ollie Watkins up front. He also did operate on the right hand side of midfield as well. Of course, we've filled those holes with the likes of Morgan Rogers and Jaden Philogene-Badace coming in, as well as Lewis Dobbin, who technically can operate in that number 10 role as well. So it'll be likely that Villa will be exploring the transfer market for that number 10. And we have been linked with three of Europe's elite attacking players. So we're going to be breaking down all of their stats and then comparing them against each other and ultimately asking the question, or answering the question, do we need one of them to come in? Let's have a look at the first player, Joao Felix, or Joao, someone told me in the comments, I don't know. I'm not good at pronunciation, sorry. So yeah, first up, Joao Felix. We've already done a video on him on the channel. I will pop that on the screen now. Be sure to head over and check that one out. We go into him in a lot more detail. Obviously, he operates off of the left or up front. I think he'll be, up front mainly for us. I'll pop some screenshots just thrown up on the screen before we properly scroll through his stats, but it's been heavily reported now by Fabrizio Romano that if we can get a cheaper deal for Felix, because they're looking for a lot of money, that is Atletico Madrid, of course. If we can get a cheaper deal for Felix, Emery is a humongous admirer of him and really wants to bring him in. I think it'd probably be a loan deal to start off with. But we look at his stats, we're going to forget about the Euro because he didn't really play. But we look at his stats for Barcelona, 2023-2024 La Liga, 7 goals off of an expected goals of nearly 9, non-penalty XG of nearly 9 as well, and 3 assists off of an 83.7% pass accuracy, 50% on his long balls, and then 5% on his crosses. 29 successful dribble puts him in the top 25th, roughly, percentile for players in his position in La Liga. 119 touches in the opposition box and winning 54 fouls. Won 72% of his tackles for Barcelona last season whilst he was on loan to them. 47% of his duels won and 50% of his aerial duels, getting 16 blocks, which chucks him nearly in the 10th percentile for his position as well. But he is not the only player that Aston Villa have been linked with to replace the hole that Moussa Diaby leaves. I introduce you to Julian Alvarez, currently at Manchester City, but has allegedly already told Manchester City that he wants to leave this summer in search of more regular football. And you look at his positions that he plays on the screen there, and attacking mid is highlighted in blue because that's primarily where he likes to operate, which means playing in that split striker role next to Ollie Watkins could allow him to flourish. He's a playmaker as well as a finisher. You can see in the Copa America 2024, which he won with Argentina, 2 goals in 4 starts there. Current market value of 95 million. I don't believe that's how much he's going to be going for. Obviously, this is just based off the fact he's 24, just won the Copa America, plays for Manchester City, and is a very good player. But I'm sure there is a deal there to be done. So if we swap his stats again from the Copa America to the Premier League last season, you can see 11 goals and 9 assists and nearly double digits for both those statistics, very similar to what Moussa Diaby was outputting for Villa as well. 2 of those being penalty goals. We're always looking for penalty takers in our squad, especially after the loss of Douglas Luiz. And I say 13 expected goals as well. 9 assists. Brilliant assist rate as well there. 87% pass accuracy, 70% long ball accuracy, and 20% for the crosses. You can see there's a lot more green for his stats than perhaps there was for Felix. 20 successful dribbles, 1,700 touches, 156 of those in the 18-yard box of his opponent. 2 penalties awarded, which means he won 2 penalties, and he is not shy to get stuck in the final third. We know Manchester City are very good at that press when they need to be. 23 blocks, 98 recoveries, and 32 times he won possession in the final third. And then finally, Karim Adeyemi. This one came out of nowhere. Apparently Villa want to hijack Juventus, who are looking to strike a deal for Adeyemi. And, 22 years of age, operates on the left and right, but can play up front as well. In the Bundesliga last season for Dortmund, it didn't particularly work out for him. 21 games, 10 starts, 3 goals and an assist after he shot to fame playing for Red Bull Salzburg over in Austria, I believe that is. But, his stats, again, they don't really leave much to be desired. Defending-wise, though, 14 tackles, 87% of his tackles he wins, 60% of his aerial duels he wins as well. In terms of per 90s, again, he wasn't really getting the starts, so per 90s are a little bit more important for him. A decent amount of goals per 90. Again, you go down into his possession as well, his touches in the opposition box, and then all of his tackling statistics as well. But how do the 3 compare against each other? And for that, of course, we're going to be heading over to my lovely friend, the Squawker Comparison Matrix. We've got Joao Felix, Julian Alvarez, and Karim Adeyemi all plugged in. These are their total stats. As you can see, for minutes played last season, it's no competition. Julian Alvarez blows them out of the water. His shot accuracy percentage, very close, all 3 of them. Obviously, Joao Felix just pips that. For goals, non-penalty goals, it is Alvarez. But then you look down at the conversion rate. Now again, Adeyemi not getting as many minutes as the other 2. A lot of his minutes coming from the bench. His conversion rate is actually very good. I've heard a lot about Adeyemi being a very clinical type of player, and perhaps this is proving that, because he dwarfs Alvarez by over at 1%, which the fine margins of elite level football is a lot, but he's very close to Joao Felix as well in the 15.5 kind of range. Assists, again, Alvarez. Chances created, you can just see when it comes to like the passing side of the game and possession wise as well, Alvarez just blows the other 2 out of the water. Chances created, considering, the amount of game time that Joao Felix also got, obviously not as much as Alvarez, it's like, that's triple what Felix was outputting last season. Passes completed, doubles, the pass accuracy, again, I'm a little bit concerned about Adeyemi's passing statistics, especially considering the role that Diaby played was much more of a link in the play role. It's not an out-and-out striker. 9 through balls for Alvarez as well, one more rather than Felix. More tackles and more take-on success as well. In terms of defensive, though, if I just scroll up a little bit here so you're not seeing random teams at the bottom, Joao Felix actually really impresses me with his defensive stats. It's something that I like about him. Ground duels won, interceptions and blocks, all dwarfing the other guys, especially Adeyemi, who's very similar again to Alvarez. So doubling the ground duels, doubling the duels won. Quadrupling, 5-tupling, I don't even know the word for it. The amount of interceptions of both Adeyemi and Alvarez. So Felix takes over in that department. But for me, when you look at these stats, there's a very clear and obvious winner here. There's a lot of green, and it's all down the middle for a certain Julian Alvarez. So do I even think that we need to replace Moussa Diaby? Or have we already done it? Again, he played striker / right wing. Sometimes he operated on the left, but mainly up front. And on the Aston Villa website, as you can see here, we've got Lewis Dobbin listed as a striker. He played there in the pre-season game that I've seen him play so far. Check that out. It's got like 10k views on the channel. Thank you very much for the support on that. Morgan Rogers has been operating in that split striker role. And then you might be thinking, well, does that leave our left side? a little bit vulnerable because that's where Morgan Rogers operates. Well, don't forget last season, John McGinn regularly operates there. We've also bought in Jaden Philogene-Badace, who I think is going to have a really, really big and important season for us. He can operate mainly on the left, but can also float out to the right-hand side as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if we could see him be in that number 10 role. Yuri Tielemans is going to be back fully fit after some slight injury concerns last season, or towards the tail end of last season. He can play in that split striker role. We've got Samuel Illing Jr. who can fill in on the left-hand side as well if we do want to move Rogers forward into that striker role. So there are options. We've already got those replacements lined up now. The fact that we're going to be losing John Duran more than likely, if you've seen the last video on my channel, you know we spoke all about that. Go and check that one out. Means that we're probably more likely than not to want to bring in a big name replacement for Diaby. Now, out of the three that we've just discussed, my clear and obvious choice is going to be Julian Alvarez. I think he's actually a pretty good player. I really rate him as a player, actually. I've watched him for Man City, obviously, over the last 3-4 years, where he does nothing but impress me. And I think next to Ollie Watkins, being the one that can drop in and operate in that 10 role, float out wide and swap positions with Bailey and Rogers and just be fluid in an attack, I think he's your golden egg for that position. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot of money, and I don't know if we'll be able to get it over the line, but I think if I had to pick one of those three, it's definitely going to be Alvarez, Felix being second, and Adeyemi, I just haven't seen enough of him, so he would be third for me. Maybe I'm missing someone there. We've also got Alex Benea. We've been linked with him quite a lot. He can operate on the left-hand side. Again, if we want to free up Rogers to play in that number 10 role, that's also an option. So let me know down in the comments below, out of these three, what are you guys feeling? Oh, the poll. I almost forgot the poll. If I pop that up here and get it on my phone, how can I almost forget? I'm trying to plug my Twitter more and more to get more followers, and I just completely forget that I put a poll up. But the results of the poll are as follows. Joao Felix actually the winner with 53%. That's from 79 votes. Julian Alvarez came in second, 43%, and Karim Adeyemi came in third with 4%. So me and you guys maybe slightly differ, but how do my YouTube peeps think this deal would go down? Do you agree with me? Julian Alvarez is the obvious choice, or is it Felix? Let me know. I'll see you next time. Up the Villa. Be nice to everyone. My kit's coming soon. That's why I'm around at Adidas. There's something for you.